we're not light workers, we're shadow workers.
Yes, it's funny because some psychics, or other people, they don't like me. They either really like me or they don't. And some people think I'm dark, and I'm like, honey, I'm not darkness. I just work there. You know, you can't have all that stuff around you and not have a bit of residue sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. Okay,
yeah,
I can relate to that. That's why I related to Truth Seeker, because we are live now. Okay, that's why I related to Truth Seeker, because he's seen. I mean, these are just words. Okay, I believe we're every aspect of light, every aspect of dark. I made my peace with the universe a long time ago, but in other words, demonic apparitions, all that stuff that he was taught. I've been there, and I value that as much as the angels I've had. 12-foot angel appear before me and have a conversation with me. Yeah, so yeah, and I think that's becoming more acceptable. You know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that on the show, because there was some stuff I was reading last night and this morning in the community. We'll call it the community. That is along the lines of what you're talking about, and you're the perfect person to talk to about it. And we'll talk about you and everything you do as well. Okay, so let me see here. We are live with 32 people in the house.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. We've got 2 here in the Zoom room. Maria Iverson, she's from Sweden. She comes a lot.
Nice.
And Nelson Quiroz, we just made friends. We just became friends. He's been around for a while. Love and peace to you, Nelson, as well. And we've got 33 people in the house on Facebook. But let me just quickly share this to the Soulogy group and to some affiliated groups. Shout out to Divine is Happening, Galactic Federation of Light, the 1111 Movement, Rising Above, Return of the Soul, and 5D Soul Tribe, 5D High Vibe Tribe, and News and Revelations of the Light. Okay, so we've got Cricket Holden, Nancy Hodges, my friend from Sedona. Somebody's calling me on the phone. Why are you doing
sorry,
that?
that's actually me. I'm trying to put my phone on silent. I end up calling you instead.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No,
You're not the only one who's a bit out of
I'm a bit off kilter right now. Renee Morton. Maria's now on Facebook. She decided to come out of the Zoom room. Danny Picard. He's over in Shasta right now. I have to get a report from him when he gets back. Susan Aaron, Jane Moore, Elaine Leonard, Cricket Holden, Matilda Pryor Thomas, Teresa LaPrey Rivera. Who else we got? Neil Devaney. And Nelson Quiroz is here. He was in the Zoom room. Monali Talby. 44 people in the house. If these shows resonate with you, please share. And we had a little problem getting on, but we got through it. And thank you all for your continued love and support and contributions, so we can continue to do what we're doing. It's amazing how far $11.11 and $7.77 and 12/12s can take you. But we always seem to have what we need. Somehow we get by. And that's really the energy that we're all walking in now, because there's no guarantees.
Indeed. Indeed.
So we have a really special guest. I'm a little off kilter. I just came out of an incredible dimensional experience. And so I'm not my normal self. But hello, Mike Diaz and Jan. Oh, Jan Lemuri. I think Morgan's reaching out to you. Get you back on the show, man. We've got a beautiful sister here who does some very unique work that needs to be talked about. Welcome to Soul Speaks 5D, Ernestine Llewellyn.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very welcome. You are. She is a grace healer, hands-in healer, empathic soul reader, and multidimensional medium. She started as a paranormal investigator in 2009, only to observe and stop people from provoking the dead and summoning other beings. She said she didn't come into her abilities until 2012, and she believes people here holding space for love and light is important, but some of us light bearers have to face and reveal the darkness in all forms. Now I am helping people where needed across the world, online and in person. So without further ado, welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting up with my confused mind this morning.
Honey, we're a great couple today. I'm glad I'm not the only one. As I said, Pisces rising, born on a lunar eclipse. I'm screwed every day.
Right on. So you work in the dark. You work with the dark energies. You want to give us a background on that, or talk about whatever you want to talk about? Yeah.
I'm trying to think how to phrase it. I'll start with how I briefly came in. I mean, I probably always had my abilities, but I didn't have a lot of the experiences that a lot of people had when they were children. You know, I don't remember my childhood. It's like black. I don't remember most of it. So it wasn't until July 10th, 2012, my father died, who I had an estranged relationship with. And then that was a week exactly before my 31st birthday. 2 days after that, I was doing a paranormal investigation in Manly Quarantine Station in Australia, which is a really bad place. And how I realized what I am is because there was a guy who killed people on that land, and he was following me around, and the guide was like a telepath and an intuitive. She was also a like a tour guide for normal like stuff, but he came up behind me and tried to choke me from behind, and I was having trouble breathing. And I said, what is going on? You know, I'm crying, I'm freaking out. She said, oh, he doesn't like you. And I said, why? And she goes, because you can white light him. And so throughout the whole tour, I was constantly getting attacked by certain things, and it almost drove me insane to be thrown in that so intensely. So basically, I've had no choice. I get whatever cases I get are usually quite dark. I work with Archangel Gabriel and the saints and Jesus and Mother Mary and all sorts of players. But I work from grace and light. But yeah, I always get the dark stuff.
Yeah. That's just your forte. That's your piece of the puzzle, right? I mean, that's what you do.
That's how I'm designed. Some people are here to raise awareness, to hold space and hold light, to be that. And some of us have to be the Constantines,
Right.
you know.
Well, you know, it's amazing how everything flows with the work that I do in terms of who comes on and what's on the table right now and what's going on. I was telling you before the show, before we got this thing hooked up to Facebook, that I think this is great because I wanted to talk to you about something to gain clarity, not to push my opinion or anything like that, because I'm formulating, openly formulating, you know, every single day, like all of us. So I noticed that over the last couple of days, and it's been going on a while, people talking about dark, talking about evil, talking about, you know, you can be attacked, and talking about this and that, right? Having to do with a you know, a separation of some sort, because to me, separation is not oneness, and I'm not fluffy love and light, and I'm not, you know, proposing anything else. What I'm trying to say is, can you give us an idea with the work that you do? Can you give us an idea, or maybe try to explain to us from your perspective, what the hell is dark and light? Is there evil? You know, what's that all about? Because I see some people out there talking about, you know, something's over there on that side of the fence and we're over here. And what if they call it dark or evil or good or bad or white or black? It doesn't matter, because to me it's separation, and I'm just trying to learn here. But can you give us some reflection on that?
The best way I can describe it is everything comes down to intent. It's all about intent. Whatever is in your heart, is it to harm or to heal, to hinder or help? You know, it's that sort of thing. So darkness, evil, any kind of entity from any realm that presents for their own agenda or to harm is considered not of light, because being of light, being of grace is being of service. Right. And it's Yeah, I mean, the dark and the evil do exist. And I mean, I worked with local police here for almost 6 years. I've worked in homicide as like an administration assistant. I've worked with missing persons. I've worked with child pornography. I've seen what evil can look like and how it can hide, especially in humans. Demons and spirits don't scare me. It's the humans that are getting played by them. And
Yeah.
that's what's happening. It's so insidious. It's like water under the door. Even stuff like pedophilia is becoming more acceptable nowadays. That is evil. That sort of stuff is being desensitized. And that is how the dark is winning at the moment. It's very, we're being desensitized to everything.
Do you think the dark is winning?
Well, it's not winning. It's kind of like it's out of balance.
Yeah, it's
out of balance.
It's perpetuating. I mean, the humans at some level have free will to perpetuating. Perpetuating that. So okay. Now, I guess in this realm, that absolutely, we have hard evidence that's true. And I will say too that many of us who have had encounters in the ethers, I know, like when I first woke up, all the stuff that happened to me had to do with disincarnated souls, and I noticed number one, they had ego. I noticed that, and I noticed that back to what you were saying, intentions.
Yes.
Some were unconscious, some had ill intentions, and some had the best intentions. But I can also think of, I think the last major encounter I had with a dark entity, it was a very foul smell, very large entity. And I had a conversation with him, and I just said, this is my space, this is my dominion. I've got nothing but love for you, but you can now leave. And he left. How do people balance out that dark? If they're experiencing dark, is there something that they're doing to experience that?
Look, it's hard to say, and that smell you're describing is sulfur. So I was going to write a book, actually, hauntings for dummies. If it smells like sulfur, get the fuck out.
We're going to get along just fine, you and me.
So basically it's oh God, let me think. Oh, I've drawn a blank. They're trying to stop me from thinking. It's how people deal with it. Like for me, I don't know why I get the dark stuff. Maybe it's because I've done stuff in past lives where I've worked with that, and that's how I'm designed. Some clients I've had that I haven't been able to help have had demons attached to them because they've done rituals. If you've done a ritual, you've called out to stuff in any kind of way where you've offered.
That's insane. I don't know how people, and I'm realizing now, because this has come up a couple of times in the last week, people talking about that. And I can't, it's just crazy, man.
Look, I had one client back in February I was trying to help, and she wasn't telling me the full story, and I'm on the phone to her, and this thing that's around her is trying to enter me through my right ear. They try and jump me. They try and take control of my body and everything. No matter how much protection I've got, it happens sometimes. And she wasn't telling me the full story, and I said, and they told me, my guides, they said, ask her what happened when she was 16. I said, what happened when you were 16? Tell me. She goes, oh, I did like this ritual in the graveyard with graveyard dirt. That's like voodoo. I mean, come on now. And she said, I summoned a black thing with red eyes. I shit myself and ran away. And I said, well, yeah, I can't unfuck that for you, honey. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I said, I'm going to redirect you to the Catholic Archdiocese. Because when it's someone who's a good person who's just got an entity because it's feeding off their light, I can usually help. But my spiritual authority will only go so far,
I love that. I love that you have the honesty and the humility, and I'm not knocking anybody else, but as a energy worker and healer, to say I can't help everybody.
You have to. Humility before all else. That's what Padre Pio said. Humility before all else. And the thing is that I'm not the right key for the door, man. I might be sometimes, but not everything that falls in my lap is for me. And they won't let me work with some people because it's not my place, or because it's their path and they have to do what they need to do. So if I can't help you, I'm straight out and I say, look, you may need to find someone else. I can't help you. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry
Mm.
because it pains me.
Yeah. Yeah. I had early in my awakening 7, 8 years ago, I had an encounter. We'll just say I had a friend, and this friend morphed for 2 days from her physical appearance to real bloated, bile skinned, splotchy face with an
Dark
exorcist voice. Yeah.
dark
And
eye.
her eyes were blue, but they definitely took on a different they,
Hugh.
they took on a different hue. And I actually would speak to her. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just running on pure communion, and I knew I was light and whatever. And so anyway, my point is, and this went on. This happened a couple times, happened for a couple days, and then it happened again a few weeks later. And I ended up having this conversation with these 4 entities that were attached to it.
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving. But I guess what I'm saying is I'm trying to bring other people into this. I had a lot of experience with what I would consider dark entities. What I know were dark entities. They wanted a piece of me. They got me a few times. So I'm not going to lie about that.
We've all been there.
Yeah. But how and I've seemed to hit a point, and this would go back, I don't know, go back at least two years, maybe even 4 years. I've hit a point where I don't have those. It's not in my life anymore.
Yeah.
That just seems to be something that people would want. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm just saying I don't think people want that kind of shit in their life, but maybe some people do. How does a person get there? Do you help people do that?
If they don't want shit in their life.
Yeah.
Well, it all comes down to their own personal choice and responsibility. And, people talk about raising vibrations, and that's all good. I mean, taking care of yourself, but it's also about picking a side. Now is the time more than ever to pick a bloody side. It really is. As I said, it comes down to intention. I mean, for some of us, we have no choice but to deal with what we're handed in terms of whatever mission we've got. And I have to say, there's not many of us that are willing to put our souls on the line to remove things from people like that. But it's strength of will. It's an ironclad resolve to an absolution of grace, of intent to harm none. And that's the cornerstone of every religion. If you look into everything, is harm none.
Yeah.
So it's but some people are just shit magnets.
Yeah.
I'm a shit magnet. Some people are just shit magnets, and you can't explain why. And sometimes I've had to say, I don't know why you keep getting this, but all you can do is keep on with your faith and do the best you can. Sometimes you can't explain it.
Yeah. True. Now, are you finding that are you finding that as time goes on, a lot of people talk about the term ascension, awakening, the unveiling, these old prophecies that are all coming in now, disclosure and all that, an expanded consciousness, expanded awareness collectively. Are you finding that as time goes on in your practice that more people are overcoming these things that you deal with, and or that these things are dissipating at all? Are the negative energies going down in numbers, so to speak?
That's really hard for me to answer. All I can say is what I've been encountering, which is it comes back to the desensitization of everything that we're facing on television and that we're accepting. So the darkness, and I mean, look at the amount of paranormal shows that are out there. Everyone thinks it's awesome to go out and fuck with stuff like that. And so it's just accepting that we're almost invincible. And so there's a lot of people awakening, which is awesome. And the term ascension, I don't resonate with, I'm afraid. It's expansion. Ever since August 2012, the veils have been bleeding into each other. I've been seeing entities that I've never come across, like a demon-alien hybrid, weird portals. I mean, it's like everything's just exploding, good and bad. and people are doing the same. But if you're going to be a dark asshole, more respect to you. Just own it.
Yeah.
Don't be like these narcissist people or these dark people that are, and that's the scary thing, the false light. And that is being projected a lot nowadays.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And I'm not big on labels either. I love that term my wife came up with, the shadow workers as opposed to light workers. But in these quote unquote light worker communities, on one hand, you look at it and say everybody's out here. You know, I am the light. You know, I am light. I'm on this side of the fence. But there's also this little stuff that goes on, and I think you just touched on that. Can you talk about the false light a little bit, or what you know about it, or what your perception of it is?
Well, you know, if false light comes in all forms, I found a lot of spiritual teachers throughout my years are false light with huge ego. With false light comes agenda and ego, and their mask will eventually slip. And I've had this with tribal people. I've had this with just normal people. And I stopped dealing with teachers in the end. Some of them, most of them, because some of them were, their agenda was not to be of service. It was to be, you know, praised and to act like they know everything and you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And another big thing that's coming out everywhere is the level of narcissists. That is the biggest. I mean, that's what I'm coming across now. I had a relationship with one. It almost assassinated my soul. It broke my soul. It took my abilities. You know, this relationship. These narcissists are a real thing, and I believe that they have. They get worked by some crazy energies, especially when they have telepathy, like my ex did.
Yeah.
Insane. So this false light comes across as anything that isn't from grace. That is, you'll see the agenda. You'll see the mask slip.
Do you think are they conscious or unconscious of what they're doing?
Well,
or a little bit of some are and some aren't, maybe.
Yes, because it's a personal choice.
Yeah. For example, I've seen where there might be a quote unquote leader or whatever, or somebody that's got a following, let's say that.
Yeah.
And they're pointing the finger at somebody else, saying basically that they're false light. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, something does, you know, I was like, why, you know what I mean? It doesn't add up. Is that a narcissistic?
Well, I mean, that's straight out judgment. I mean, there's judgment and discernment. I mean, if you're going to go around judging everyone, I mean, that's not exactly false light. That's just being human and egotistical.
Okay. True. That's fair. Fair enough.
But humans, as I've said, have evolved to this point where they think they're invincible. And once again, hold on. Nothing is held sacred much anymore to, say, a mainstream feel. The people who are awakening are understanding things. People, both conscious and unconsciously, are getting influenced. Some people are choosing to have that power, are choosing to have things, and they don't care what the outcomes will be or who they harm. Humanity, we're living in a Luciferian realm. The earth is lovely and great and it's beautiful. I don't ground because I always connect with all sorts of craziness. But this is the realm where all the other entities and all the other universes battle and use some people like finger puppets. That's why we're the center of this universe.
Yeah, that resonates. I know in that book, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers, it was written by his sister, a psychologist, and something. He says in there, he was speaking to her from the other side. He says to her that if everybody could see the energies around a person, they would understand that most of what people do, now this was written 7, 8, 10 years ago, most of what people do is not even on them. It's not even, you know, in other words, they're being influenced and manipulated to do something from another level, like an archonic level, fourth dimensional level, whatever.
Yes. it's well, I mean, like as I said, we're humans, and we live in the root chakra world. We material and dense, and um, I love Carl Jung. You know, I love how he explains the archetypes and all that sort of stuff. And so basically, people can be just driven from the root chakra. It's for hunger, for lust, for shelter, and some are just power hungry. Some there's not a lot of fear, and I think fear is good. Having a respect for the unknown.
Yeah.
And humans are messy creatures. I've never resonated with humans. I'm sorry. Some people say I'm not human. I don't know what I am.
Do you? Yeah. Do you have like a? Do you have a certain soul lineage that resonates with you? I mean, like galactic or a divine essence, or is there something that could kind of tell us a little bit about where you're coming from?
Okay, well, I've been through many things since 2012. However, I keep coming back to Hebrew. I speak some Latin prayers, Hebrew, Aramaic. I speak in tongues. So I guess it's the lineage of Jesus or that, or before Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the Essenes, the Essenes or Scenes, whatever you call them.
Spirits. Yeah, I love Jesus, man. I mean, look at Corinthians in the New Testament, where they talk about people having different gifts and how to use them. And so basically, I was not raised. I was baptized Catholic, but I was not raised religious. But I always get these things in my head. Like, I'll just meet people. I'm claircognizant, so I see everything up here. So it's hard to work with, because I'm like, am I insane, or am I actually sick?
We all had a little bit of that going, right?
Yeah. And so, like, sometimes I'll be walking down the street, and up here, like 7 levels above my head, I'll see a dude sitting on a rock in the spirit realm, and he'll be like, I don't know, I met some guy named Simeon the Pious. What the fuck is that kind of name? I'm like, all right, so I go and look it up. And sure enough, there's a guy named Simeon the Pious, Simeon the Just. So I'll meet these. Lately, I've been Hebrew names in my head, Hebrew stories, and I have to go and look it up. And sure enough, it's real. So I wish I could say I'm like a commander in some alien.
Yeah, right. I love that. I'm not knocking anybody's reality. I take that back.
No. That's all fine and good, but I'm happy to say I've realized some people say, oh, you're Pleiadian. Some people say you're an asshole. I'm like,
you're an asshole. I'm one of those. I got that in common with you. Right.
I know is that I'm here working for grace in this vessel as best I can. And
what I love too about you is that you're not attached to anything. You're committed to what you do, and you understand what you're here for. But you're not committed to thank you. We all have our ups and downs, right?
Oh, sometimes you're just like, I don't want to be here. It's too messy. It doesn't, where I'm from, wherever that is, shit isn't as messy as it is down here. Why do humans love their paperwork and their messiness and their drama? I'm like, I don't resonate with any of it.
Yeah. I don't do people. Right. On a personal level, I can't. It's hard for me to do people. So is there, like, when you do one-on-one sessions, obviously, right?
Yeah, mostly my main gift is hands-on healing. I can remove pain from people. I remove entities and implants and stuff, and I take it into me. And then I release it. Sometimes it doesn't always release, and I have to carry it. I'm what you'd call in the old terms a sin eater. I carry other people's darkness. I eat it.
So what happens when it stays in you? It just takes longer to get transmuted, or?
Yeah. So sometimes when it's really heavy, it can't go. I can't. Sometimes I don't have the strength.
Yeah, you know that story I was telling you about the exorcist friend of mine that happened?
Yeah. Yes.
I actually the last time I encountered it, I actually told the entity to come out of her, come into me. Now, he told me that he couldn't do that because I was too much light, but he actually I think actually did, because my life went purely upside down for a few weeks after that.
Well, yeah, and you know what? It's also blowback from being in the presence of something. I mean, this is stuff that we still don't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, and these entities and spirits are adapting all the time. You know, as we get aware, so do they. And so we have to really think outside the box sometimes.
Yeah.
If I do a house clearing and I walk in and I'm like, you know, I'm calling to my dudes, and I'm like, okay, this thing doesn't respond to religion. Fuck. All right, what do we have to do? Chaos magic? What do we do? You have to fight fire with fire. But I can only do so much because of obviously the lineage of the Jesus stuff. I can't get into witchcraft or anything like that.
Yeah.
But basically it's wow, it's just craziness. And
Yeah.
I would be I get people on the street that'll come up to me and they'll say, "What are you?" And I'll be like, okay. And I know in my head there's something wrong with them. And sometimes I've had people come up to me and say, I've got stuff in me. Whenever they've got darkness, they'll come to me and tell me in the street. And when I first started, I wasn't equipped to deal with that. So I'm like, how do I address the person without addressing the entity? So I've had to learn. And sometimes I don't take the entities, but the blowback, like you were saying, your life is upside down, just being in the presence of that can make you ill, can give you a run of bad luck. It can throw you off. So it may not be that it attaches to you, but at least a stain, like a That's all.
And now, do you do any work online?
Yes, I've. As I said, I've only just come out of the spiritual closet last year because I get attacked so much, and since I've been going online, it's gotten worse. But I started doing readings online and free readings to sort of, you know, flex my spiritual muscles, so to speak. But I do long distance healings now and clearings.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the dog. And so I'm hoping to get that up and running. I've had clients in Sweden, in America.
Oh, yeah.
I astral project in remote view. So
now, can you remove? It's okay. Don't worry about it. Can you remove entities and attachments and implants and such from where you're
yes.
at around? Okay.
Yes, if I'm given the spiritual go ahead, yes.
Yeah.
As I said, I can't fix everything.
Now,
So,
what are your dudes? I love that. What does your team tell you about what is darkness? What's going on here? How does this work?
I just feel it when I'm in the presence. I'll start, if it's demonic, I'll start speaking in tongues, which means that I have to speak in a language that they'll understand because they won't respond to English, or it's really it's like getting the right key cut for the right door. You've really got to go right, not you know, there's no master key. And so basically my guides like Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raziel, I'll walk into a place or I'll deal with a person and I'll say, invoke the light on this situation and reveal to me that which needs to be revealed now, you know, in this time. And anything that has the intent to harm, I mean, I've met the Hat Man. You would have heard of the Hat Man?
No.
Wow.
Who is it?
I have to mention this. The Hat Man is a phenomena around the world, and it's usually a shadow person in a wide brim hat. Now, this man likes to groom people to be shadow people. And I've spoken with him once, and he said, I'm not I'm not a bad guy. I just like to stand back and watch. I like to plant the seeds and watch people go slowly insane. And he'll wait years to harvest. There is a soul harvesting process that is going on. And so the Hat Man, look it up. There's so many accounts of it. And he grooms people to be shadow people. Lost souls, tormented people in this life. When they pass on, he will claim them.
Wow. And now, what would you say to the statement? Because I'm just want to get your perspective. That in any dimension, in any space and time, in any place, a soul can claim its sovereignty on anything external of it.
say honestly, I don't know. I'm going to be honest and say I don't know,
Great answer.
because I don't know. I'm not the demiurge. I'm not the creator of all. I don't know. All I know is that there's a lot of pain down here, and being highly empathic myself, I feel it on everyone, and people who get lost in pain and torment, sometimes they just get lost, and sometimes it's forever, and sometimes if they're just lost, and they might latch onto someone like me or someone who can counsel the dead, like one of my friends counsels dead people,
Yeah.
to come out, because the longer they're dead and they're lost, they lose their humanity, they look darker. So some dark entities can look like, some lost souls can look like dark entities when they're not, they've just lost their humanity in their way.
Yeah.
So the sovereignty, we're in this reality, we can claim that, and we can touch things that are tangible, and we can learn from other people. We're not alone floating around in the multiverse.
We're still managing. We're still able to be responsible for ourselves. We can
Down
call.
here,
Yeah, we can call in who we need, who we. I mean, we can call in help. We can call in our own dudes. We can call in a team. There's support there. And then I think what you're saying is there's some people who are temporarily a lost cause or temporarily unreachable or something like that.
yeah. I mean, it's just the way. I mean, we could delve into past lives and where you're from and everything like that. I mean, I really don't know, but some people are just lost, and some people over time, I find that not all suicides are just lost souls. Some of them do go to grace and light because it was their time and it was their choice, and they didn't want to be here anymore. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's hard.
And do you get any type of in your universe, in your work, do you get any type of galactic presence at all?
Not really. I mean, I can speak with entities. I get things from other dimensions, that's for sure. I was in a house one day, and this serpent came out of the closet, and then as I looked at it, it transformed into a silver spinning cube in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you go from that to that? This is interdimensional weird shit, that we have no idea and no comprehension about.
Yeah.
So I can see what's going on, but I can't always help it or maybe communicate with it. But my friend Julie, she has a farm. She's probably watching. And, well, not a farm. She has a place in the country. And we'll go out, and I've never seen UFOs. I've never had any of that kind of interaction. But the lights will flash back at us and talk to us. And they're not satellites. They're not going anywhere. And one night, this red orb came out of the middle of the sky and sat in the tree and just pulsed and looked at us, leering at us.
Yeah.
And so I've seen that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I wanted to contact it because I'm curious, and I want to go in charging because I'm a soldier. Like, what the fuck do you want, man? And why are you sitting in a tree looking at us like that? But part of me is like, we don't know what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Be smart, and be safe.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. It really is. Now, do you do this full time? Is this what you do?
Look, you know what? I would love to do it full time, but as you know, there's so many people out there doing certain work. It's hard to, without like heaps of money to advertise and everything. I've always worked by word of mouth. But I've got my own page now, and I'm doing readings online for people around the world. So, I would love to do this full time because it's what I'm here for. Everything else doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. I don't enjoy food. I don't sleep. Ever since I came into my abilities, I've been insomniac. I don't resonate with 9 to 5 and all that sort of stuff. I can't, but I still have to do it.
Wow. Yeah. And so, I mean, now with your clients, I mean, they come to you, they find you through word of mouth.
Yeah. So I think it's, how I put it is that everything, I guess, is put in order. People who need my kind of skill set, I guess, will be put in my path. So I've always just relied on, if someone needed my kind of help, they'll be put in my path. I'll be given the green light by spirit to help them. If I force myself, I can't be one of those mediums or those people who tune into everyone and then thrust my services upon them. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So if people are putting my path, I say, well, it's meant to be. But if I'm out there and I'm putting more, I'm just putting it out there, this is what I do, hopefully I'll get more people coming and I can help more people. And spirit.
Yeah, and spirit, yeah. And what are your thoughts on inner work, shadow work, the importance of it?
You know, it has to, well, as I said, we live in a real base chakra, Luciferian realm. We have to work with it. You know what I mean? We have to face it. And I would say to anyone, study Carl Jung. I mean, he was brilliant with working with shadow side and archetypes, but not judging it, but just accepting it. So if you can look at it and accept it and find the purity in it, as I said, if it all comes down to intent. If your intent is to harm people, then you're an asshole.
Is that one of the archetypes?
No, but it should be. Shit magnet and asshole.
Shit magnet.
But no, it comes down to intent. So, I mean, we all have our shadow side. We all have the things that we battle with. And so it's just a matter of accepting it and putting it in its place. And it comes back to what's in your soul. What's your intent?
Yeah. That's a really powerful statement. Comes back to what's in your soul.
What's your essence? I mean, that's always the question. Whenever I do anything, what's my intent?
Yeah.
Well, I can't harm anyone. I don't even hate demons. I have compassion for them. I've begged them to change, to transmute. I can send them to get help, and I've dealt with all sorts of weird things like goblins and craziness. And I can't hate them because it's not in me to hate. But some people are like that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Wow, this is interesting. And what would you say to people that encounter dark energy?
As in how to deal with it, or?
Yeah, just like, somebody goes home and, I mean, what steps should they take to rectify the situation, bring balance, heal, cure, remove, whatever?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say, if you choose to go into a place that you know is dark, or you watch these paranormal shows and you think it's cool to do all this stuff, if you're going into a place and you know that it's a bit off, then ask for protection. But if you're still going in there, you're running the risk of getting, jacked up. You're running the risk of taking something home with you. Yeah. So, but if you're just a person who's unaware of their abilities, or you're just a nice person and some spirits come along, some, fuckers come along and go, right, I'm going to attach to you, seek help. I mean, if you're suffering from medical stuff, I mean, go see a doctor. Think smart, rule out that sort of stuff. But if you're feeling off in your soul, obviously you need to find someone who you're drawn to help you. A lot of people are walking into things these days with their eyes wide open, expecting not to get, influenced or, screwed up. And that's why I have a problem with a lot of these paranormal teams provoking spirits, bringing out Ouija boards, doing all this stuff. I work at a haunted jail, and I protect both spirits and humans.
Wow!
I'm a spiritual security guard.
Tell us about this. For instance, tell us about the spirits that you protect at the jail. What's their existence like? What do they say to you? Do they talk to you? Do they bother the human prisoners?
There is one guy where I work at this local historical jail, which is now a museum. Now, this is a place where 133 people were hanged. And so he's one of the guys who was done for murder. He's actually African American. He's one of the few Americans that were in that jail. And he was drunk when he did it. He's so remorseful and he's stuck. And so he's one of the people I'm going to help. But there's also some people in that jail that walk around and they're like wardens, and they won't let him leave. And so I have to, in order to let the people leave, I have to take the bad guys out. And there's a reptilian in there as well, which I have yet to deal with.
So you have some encounters with galactic.
Well, reptilians are just, well, I suppose they're galactic, but they're more just like shitbags to me. I mean, I pull the little snakes out the back of people's necks. I pull out the black goo and I pull out the bits and pieces, and I have to transmute them into white fire. Like, I give them a choice. You can go for rehabilitation and change, and I'll get Gabriel or whomever to take them wherever they need to go, or St. Peter with the keys. And he doesn't just have keys to heaven. He has a lot of different keys. Yeah, so the reptilians, yeah, I want to swear, but I'm not going to swear. I suppose they're...
This is Soulogy. You can swear.
Oh, look, they're just slimy cold fuckers. I'm sorry, they are. And they are everywhere. And there's a lot of reptilian portals in the earth that have been opened, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So... And
there's some stories out there that a lot of them are being closed, but I don't know. Like you said, we don't know. We don't know.
You know, I mean, I can close portals. Don't ask me how I do it. I do it by will. I closed a portal in Sweden a couple of months ago where I saw this weird... I was chasing around this demon chicken alien thing. I was trying to catch them, running like I'm running around a farmyard trying to catch this demonic chicken. And I sent it up, and then I couldn't catch the other one. It went up this portal, which was multicolored. It was very... I thought, man, how much stranger can things get? Demonic chickens and weird shit.
Right. Wow.
So that's my I'm used to it.
Wow. Really interesting. It really is. Wow. Now, do you when you do your readings, what type of readings are they? Are they tarot cards? Are they some other type?
Look, I don't need to use cards. I'm empathic and claircognizant, so I just know. But I don't do clairvoyance because the future is not set in stone and anything can change. True. So if someone comes to me, I sort of just reflect back to them that which they need to know right now about their soul, about their path, about what might be hindering them. And then, you know, the dead folk will rock up and they'll start, you know, they don't talk to me and I don't see them, but I speak to them up here. It's kind of weird. And they'll explain to me, you know, what this person may need. And so I usually always do hands-on healing or long-distance healing to transmit grace and light. Yeah.
Do you ever do any type of, I guess that is a form of, here we go with these labels and words again, but that's a form of channeling.
Yes, I do channel. I've been taught in Reiki. I'm a magnified healing master teacher, but I throw it all away because you're either a healer or you're not.
Yeah.
You've either got the grace or you haven't. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's true. And you might be a financial healer. You might be a wizard with numbers helping people. You might be a healer in cooking food for people in an old home, you know, old folks' home. But for being that kind of hands-on healer, modalities don't matter to me. It's you're connected to grace or you're not. Sorry.
Here I have a question. Keyword higher self. But I want to get to this question that Sherry Mundy just put up. He says, does she recognize when they have no soul? Are there beings out there with no soul?
There's two types. There are people who are walking around whose soul is too afraid to enter the body through trauma, which can sometimes be seen as soulless.
Now say that again. There's people walking around that the soul is like walking around with the body but not going into the body.
It's too afraid to enter the body through trauma. A lot of people who experienced trauma in their childhood may have, like, sometimes my soul just fucks off into the ether and goes away, and I don't know where she's gone. She's doing Romanian gymnastics somewhere. I have no idea. But sometimes trauma from either a past life or a childhood experience, the soul will leave and be floating around, and you'll be conscious and you'll have your humanity and all that, but the soul sometimes is too afraid to enter the body. It's too afraid. It's too traumatized.
Wow. That's
I worked on a guy, and I thought he had no soul. And then I realized that his dead mother was standing in the corner, and she died from poisoning. She'd killed herself when he was very young, and he saw it. So his soul buggered off. It just left.
wow.
So that's what I'm finding. There are people who are soulless, and when I mean soulless, they have no conscience. They have no connection to grace. They have no understanding of right and wrong.
I've met a few like that in my old business career. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I could always see it in the eyes. They were like an abyss. They were like nothing was there. You know?
Yeah, it's like looking into a void.
Yeah, exactly. How they said the eyes are the mirror of the soul, the windows of the soul. These eyes would be like shark eyes. You know, ever see shark's eyes? They're just like nothing there.
They're cold.
Yes,
Cold.
yes. Do you have a relationship with your higher self? And when you connect with people, are you dealing with their higher self, or maybe what you're calling the soul is the higher self, or however you want to put that?
I call it soul.
Okay.
Because it is. It's the pure essence of your energy, and it's very powerful when used in the right way. When I sit down with someone, I go straight to their soul. I'm a soul reader, so I'll see their soul intent, which is what they're here to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't always like what I see,
Yeah.
but I still have to work with that. So I call it soul, higher self. It's the essence of who you are while you're here. It's the intent.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's how I started when I started out. I guess now 8 years now. 8 years this month. That's what it was. That's why I came up with I didn't come up with it. Was given I am soul, and that was it. There's nothing else needs to be said. Then I got into the community, and there's the multidimensionality aspects and the higher self and this and that. But to me, that's what always spoke was the soul, and I could actually identify with that being me.
Yeah, and why I call myself a grace healer. People call themselves a hands-on healer or a Reiki healer, because I don't work with white light. I work with grace, which is like the breath of the universe, the breath of God. There's no words that can explain grace when you've channeled it. And it usually doesn't last that long because your body can't handle what it really, really is. It's the divine. So basically soul, grace, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah.
What about, and in your case, I'm just saying from a curiosity standpoint. So in your case, do you have a relationship with the soul, your soul, or is it kind of all embodied, and what you see is what you get?
Both. I live my soul all the time. I mean, I couldn't do this work and not have being empathic. How can you not be in touch with your soul? You know what I mean? When you're always picking up that sort of stuff. But also I do get lost in humanness, especially when I don't understand it or I keep making mistakes. Like when you keep sticking your finger in an electric socket and you go back and do it again because you just
My beloved wife in our courtship had to tell me to pull my finger out several times.
You're balancing two different acts.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel like that lately. I've had some pretty powerful things happening, and I almost feel like you were saying a minute ago, like the soul steps out, or like comes in and gives you a jolt, and then steps away, and you're standing there going, huh? Sometimes you're on your own, and sometimes you're aligned with that what you're calling soul or higher self.
Yeah, yes, it can be difficult. I mean, my soul will just go sometimes and just deal with stuff that has nothing to do with this earthly, it's hard to explain. That sounds nuts, but it does happen. And so, you always have that connection. It's like a kite. you always have that connection, but the kite's flying somewhere else.
Is there anything that you would like to do or say while we're with everyone here on the live and those that will see the replay in terms of the channeling or a message or just comments or advice or whatever?
Oh, wow. Let me have a quick check-in. Just practice awareness, honestly, in all forms. Please just don't bury your head in the sand about love and light and this and that. And it's all good, but be aware of all sides. Be aware of everything. Knowledge is power. You know what I mean? Knowledge and wisdom. Practice humility. You know, if everyone practiced humility, this world would be so different. Have the guts and the clarity to say when you're wrong, when you don't know, when you can't help someone. You know, I guess, yeah, it's not great, like, you know, galactic channeling, but it's stuff that people can relate to. It's from the soul. So.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Carmen Price has asked 3 times, and I thought it would be more of a personal thing, but since she's asked, can you please ask her if there's a way to get the Hat Man to leave? Or should she just message you?
I think it would be best if she messaged me, because I would need to see why he might be around her.
That's what I was thinking too. And how can we find you?
I sent you a link. I'll put it on the post. I have my own page. I've just started, so it's very new.
Yeah.
It's called EL Healing. So it's E.L Healing. I'll put it in the comments. And yeah, so you can just message me on that, and I'll get back to you, you know, pretty much straight away. And then how it works is I get you to tell me nothing. Just send me a photo of yourself or a photo of your house. Don't tell me anything, and I'll go in there and I'll see what the problem is, and I'll tell you what I find, and then you will validate with me. Then we both know that the other one's not full of shit. You know what I mean? And it's a cold, clear reading, and that's how I work.
Very cool. Very cool. So, you know, like I've said many times this year, this is the year of collaboration, co-creation, supporting each other, expansion, your word, sovereignty. So those of you who are here for the live, thank you for coming. And
yes,
please check out her pages, her page and her information. And if it resonates, let's support those who are out there doing it in equal energy exchange. I want to say thank you to you as well.
Yes, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I like it.
Sorry about the swearing.
Hey, you're talking to the swearing king. I just had to pull my finger out enough times just to be a little bit more infrequent with it. But no, it's all good.
Truck driver's daughter.
Yeah, there you go. I'd love to collaborate with you again.
Yes, I would too.
And I'll check out your new page, and if it'd be a good idea, I think maybe you put it out in the Soulogy group. It's a pretty strong, active membership in there, and it's a good place to get some expand the awareness of what you're doing and the energy that you are. So
wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone for watching. So
yeah, you take care. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Bye.
You take care. Bye-bye.